Back to another video. Today we are doing the Strange Man. Like I said, I was gonna do one today. This one has more information and more theories about the Strange Man. It might have like a few repeats about it, but other than that, that should be good. So, just there's also like theories at the end of the video. Just I don't think I said that, but yeah, like there's like theories about him being the Grim Reaper, the God, the Devil, or all the above, or Hosea Trelawney. Just it's gonna be at like possibly the end of the video, and this is gonna be one of the longest videos that I'm ever gonna do. So without further ado, let's do this.
Gather round the campfire, friends, and allow me to tell you a story. For in today's video, we are going to be revisiting one of the biggest mysteries in Red Dead Redemption's lore. One so ambiguous that nobody's entirely sure if the entity in question is good or evil, or simply indifferent. All that's known is while exploring the Wild West, we may encounter a man who is simply dressed in an elegant black suit and a top hat. He's ambiguous and morally questioning, but nobody knows quite who or what this strange man is. All we know for sure is he knows you.
Before I continue on, there's constantly gonna be another video today. Me playing doors later today. With my little sister watching me, and she's gonna be talking a little bit. But other than that, that's probably gonna be it. So there's gonna be two videos. This one and this one. That's probably around like 4 o'clock, and then next weekend, if I'm going to if I'm next weekend probably, I will probably do the Blackwater Massacre, which is very questioning to me because I'm still a little confused about it. But other than that, that's about it for the plan. So yeah.
About 3.5 years ago, I made a video on the Strange Man for my massive Red Dead Redemption 2 playlist. I believe it was a good video, however, unfortunately, I also believe in hindsight, confirmation bias led me to leave out a lot of information that the game provides for us, as well as some information that I simply did not know at the time. I decided the best way to rectify that is to do a video now, with the 3.5 years extra content creating experience and all of the knowledge. So hopefully this will be a better take on the Strange Man mystery for my Creepy Game Mysteries playlist. Yeah, I'm not creative when it comes to titling things, so let's move on. The first encounters many of us will remember with the Strange Man occurred back in 2010's Red Dead Redemption.
Now, Red Dead Redemption 1, it was actually a pretty good game. I played it, beat it more than once, with some cheats. Yes, there's some cheating in the games. I can't remember the codes, but Red Dead Redemption, one of my favorite games so far. One of the best games, actually. Like, one of the best games I could ever play. I still have it, and I'm actually trying to beat Undead Nightmare right now, but it's also very, like, difficult for what I'm doing. So, I guess the game just crashed. Now I have to restart the entire game and just beat it right there. So, other than that.
Whilst exploring the open world, you can come across a side mission chain simply titled I Know You, in which John Marston encounters a mysterious stranger.
Hello, John. John Marston. Do I know you? I hope so. I seem to know you. I'm pretty good at remembering faces. Are you? Do you remember Hattie McCourt's face? Who? She was a girl Dutch Vanderlyn shot in the head on that raid on the ferry a few years back. Same one you got shot on. Pretty girl, until her eye was hanging out by a thread of tendon and her brain was plastered over a wall. Not really. Then why would you remember me, friend? You've forgotten far more important people than me. What's your game, friend? I don't have a game, John. Listen, sometimes I just wish I'd known more about life. Wish I'd had better guidance. A friend of mine is drunk as a skunk. in the saloon on Thieves' Landing. I think he's going to be unfaithful to his dear wife. Why don't you head over there and see if you can advise him how best to proceed? What do you think I am? I know what you are, John. Just if you've got the time, friend.
Like I said, he knows all, he sees all. I'm gonna go back a few seconds, hang on.
What do you think I am? I know what you are, John. Just if you've got the time, friend.
See, he knows what kind of gang he ran in. He knows Arthur Morgan. He knows everybody that's about to die. And there's actually a theory, I believe, that this video will say Jimmy Brooks was one of the people that the strange man gave to. And since Jimmy Brooks came along, Arthur Morgan, the strange man knew that Arthur Morgan's death was coming soon.
The stranger appears to know John quite well. However, John has no clue who this man is, and rightfully so. He is nobody. He doesn't appear in John's life up until this moment, and yet he seems to know about John. He knows about Heidi McCourt, the innocent girl that Dutch van der Linde shot during the Blackwater Massacre of 1899. He could have fluked this information because John Marston is a wanted man, and running with Dutch van der Linde is well-known knowledge to the public. However, he's standing atop a cliff in the middle of nowhere. The chances of John running into him are quite slim. He knew John was going to be there. He also says sometimes he wishes he knew more about life and had better guidance, before telling John that his friend is drunk at Thieves' Landing and he believes that he's going to be unfaithful to his wife, and sends John to advise him on how best to proceed. He doesn't tell us which option we should choose: encourage the adultery or advise the drunk man against it. He simply tells us what's going to happen and where, so we can intervene however we see fit. It would appear as if the strange man is testing our morality. At Thieves' Landing, we can encourage or dissuade the man, and the honorable choice is to dissuade. Upon the next meeting with the strange man in Mexico, here's what he has to say.
Welcome to Nuevo Paraiso, John. Where do I know you from? You're famous, John. You're the man who shot a bunch of banditos as soon as he turned up in this country. You're a man who decided right and wrong, between a man and death, between a man and his wife. And who are you? You know, I admire you, John. I hope...
So give me 5 seconds, I need to do something real quick. Just give me 5 seconds. I forgot to do one simple thing, which is not put on a thing on Not Disturb. Because people always annoy me, and I'm not trying to have people like, oh, this happened, and notifications, so that's my fault.
My boy turns out just like you. Wife. And who are you? You know, I admire you, John. I hope my boy turns out just like you. For your sake, I hope he don't. You kill people so easily, yet you respect the vows of marriage. That's very curious. I'll let the appropriate authorities judge my morality, friend. Yes, you will. And they shall. Anyway, I hear that an old nun is traveling from the monastery, taking the money she raised at the bank. Why don't you head up there and see if you can lend her a hand? The road's full of thieves. Either that or rob her yourself. I'll see you around, John. I hope you don't.
If you chose the honourable outcome to the previous objective, the strange man will say that he admires you and hopes his boy will turn out just like you. He also points out that John Marston kills people easily, yet respects the vows of marriage. Following up his sentence,
savor the sweeter things in life with
I
Culver's
hate
new
ads, bro.
concrete mixers and lemon
I'm
ice
sorry,
coolers
guys.
made
I'm
with
really
fruity
wrong.
Skittles popped.
Support the plan to responsibly transform and reuse the acres at the Kincaid Power Plant.
by saying that is very curious. He's pointing out the hypocrisy in John's actions? How does one so morally jaded to the point where they can kill people without a second's hesitation get to say anything about lesser sins such as adultery? John says he'll let the appropriate authorities judge his morality, to which the strange man says, "Oh, you will, and they shall." A bit of an ominous message, however, it's very clear that the strange man has some form of higher knowledge and is therefore referencing a higher power than a court of law, for example. He then gives us yet another moral quest: to help a nun or to rob a nun. The choice is ours. The nun in question is Mother Superior Calderon, or whatever her title is by this point, who actually appears in Red Dead Redemption 2 and is something of a morally guiding figure for Arthur Morgan, especially towards the end of his life. I don't actually know if that's meant to be relevant here, however, if we choose to help her, I don't know what bearing it has on the final encounter we have with the mysterious strange man. The final encounter can be had at John Marston's home at Beecher's Hope.
Ain't this a beautiful spot?
Sure. What are you doing here?
My accounts. I'm an accountant.
Is that so?
In a way.
What's your name?
You know, it's the darndest thing. I can't remember.
Tell me your damn name and where you know me from.
Well, I know you from Mexico. I know you from back out west. I know you from all over.
Tell me your name or I won't be responsible for my actions.
Oh, but you will. You will be responsible. This is a fine spot. See you around, cowboy.
Damn you!
Yes, many have.
There is a lot to unpack in this final encounter. He opens by saying that this is a fine spot. This spot later becomes the site of the graves of John Marston, uncle, and Abigail. The strange man explains that he's an accountant of sorts, and when John asks for his name, he tells John that he does not remember. When John gets frustrated, he tells him that he will not be responsible for his actions, to which the strange man responds with, "But you will." Finally, as the strange man walks away, he says, "This is a fine spot, see you around, cowboy." John says, "Damn you," to which the strange man says, "Many have," and then unloads 3 bullets into his back, which appears to do nothing, and on the 4th shot, his gun jams. The spot on which this happens becomes the grave site for 3 of the 4 residents of Beecher's Hope. The gun jamming before the 4th shot indicates that Jack Marston will be spared. When John says "damn you" and the strange man responds with "many have," maybe this is a nod to the saying "God damn." Maybe the strange man is God, or at least a god. All that we know for sure is that, as the strange man said, he's an accountant, and the 3 shots indicated the fate sealed in this encounter. And that's basically the strange man's presence in the first Red Dead Redemption, which sort of gives you an idea of what he's about. He appeared before John's death, to test his morality. At the end of this encounter, John effectively seals his own fate. However, fortunately, his son Jack's life is spared. The strange man, in not dying when shot at, reveals himself to be otherworldly, though if you try to kill him in gameplay, in between the encounters, you absolutely can. Though not playing along with the mission chain is outside of canon, so I don't think this necessarily means very much. But from what we can gather so far, he's definitely alluded to be a higher power. Now for the encounters with the strange man we can have in the prequel, Red Dead Redemption 2. For the most part, they're more implied. However, there is one definite, and that is the strange man's house in the swamp. Beneath the house there is a cage inside which we can find a dead, decaying alligator. I don't know its relevance, however, a dream of a dead alligator that you did not kill is a sign that you are going to experience a massive change in your life. Which could be John going from being a member of a gang to a semi-functional member of society, or even Arthur Morgan's redemption arc as he can visit this place as Arthur Morgan. Or that could just be me going on a tangent to try to figure out what this alligator actually represents. The fun begins, however, inside the house. Upon entering the house, the first thing you will notice is an unfinished portrait in the center of the room. Behind it, you will notice 2 other paintings that depict different animals depending on your honor. For low honor, it's a wolf and a vulture, and for high honor, it'll be an eagle and a stag. To the left of the entrance, you can find a poem scratched into the
I believe the first one was like the first video that I made yesterday was like for low honor it was a wolf and a coyote, not a wolf and a vulture. So now I don't even know which one is which. And then for the high honor, I believe it's still an eagle and a deer. Let's see what he says.
honor, it's a wolf and a vulture, and for high honor, it'll be an eagle and a stag. To the left of
It's I don't know which one is true. It might be like either one of those two. Because for what I have for high honor for Red Dead 2 was a vulture how can I say this? I'm trying to think. Was a deer and an eagle. It took me a long time. Whoops. Alright, let's get back to it.
the entrance, you can find a poem scratched into the desk that changes depending on your decision with regards to your encounter with Jimmy Brooks. Just so our memories are nicely jogged, this is the encounter with Mr. Brooks.
Hey, who's that guy over there looking at us?
Weren't you in Blackwater a few weeks back?
Me? No, sir. Ain't from there.
Oh, you were. Well, I definitely saw you with a bunch of fellers.
Me? No. Impossible. Listen, buddy, come here for a minute.
I saw you.
Come here.
Come on, get.
I don't like this. Me neither. Go get the girls home. I'm gonna go have a word with our friend.
Be careful, Arthur.
Just a word.
Please, I'm sorry.
Yep. You stop right here.
Yeah. Oh. Help me.
Why are you telling lies about me?
No. I got it wrong, partner. I got it very wrong. Now, please help me up.
I ain't never been in Blackwater.
Then why are you chasing me?
I've got an unfortunate face.
Yes, me too. Now, please pull me up. Please.
All right, come on. You okay, partner?
No, I am not. I'm a mess.
Well, you ain't dead.
There is that. Jimmy Brooks.
I think it's best for both of us if we pretend this never happened.
Well, I agree. You saved my life. You're a good man, and here. You want a pen? It's one of them steel ones.
Oh. That's very kind of you. But I'm not a good man, Jimmy Brooks. Not usually. You see, I was in Blackwater. I killed people. And maybe I should have killed you. Should I have killed you, Jimmy Brooks?
Me? I never saw you. Not now, not never. I think we have an understanding.
Of course we do. Jimmy Brooks. I will remember that. I've got a good memory.
The poem reads as follows: if you spare Jimmy Brooks's life. There was a man called Jimmy Brooks who was always running into crooks, till one chased him down and he had to talk his way round that Jimmy isn't as dumb as he looks. If you kill Jimmy Brooks, it reads, there was a man called Jimmy Brooks who was always running into crooks, but the man from the ferry found him far too contrary. Now Jimmy's family don't see him very much. Now, of all the moral choices that you find yourself making in the game, it's very peculiar that this is the one that makes its way into this desk in the cabin. What is so special about this encounter with Jimmy Brooks? Jimmy Brooks is never seen or heard from in Red Dead Redemption 2's story again, and definitely not in Red Dead 1. It's also very strange that he just recognizes Arthur, who is conveniently in Valentine at the same time as him, from Blackwater. Now, what we know from the Red Dead Redemption I Know You Stranger missions is that the strange man morally tests people. My theory is that Jimmy Brooks is one of these tests. While the strange man's tests in the I Know You Stranger mission chains involve, as far as we can tell, real people, it's entirely possible that Jimmy Brooks is an apparition of the strange man and not a real person unto himself. Regardless of whether or not that is the case, Jimmy Brooks is clearly one of the strange man's tests, as he knows that Arthur Morgan's death is near. On another table we can find a map of Armadillo, with the note scrawled on it that reads, "I offered you happiness or 2 generations. You made your choice." We will be coming back to what this means a little later on in the video. There are also various messages on the walls of this shack. The first...
I don't think you guys can read these, but he'll probably tell you guys this, because if I turn my phone even more brightness than what I can, it should get like that. And then, stuff like that. Yeah, I'm sorry.
One reads, "From the snow to the cave," which is a reference to the main story beginning up in the mountains and ending at the cave at Beaver Hollow. The next message reads, "I gave everything for art and I learned too much and nothing at all." This is likely referencing the fact that the artwork in the room changes depending on your honor level. The strange man sees every action you make but cannot make sense of it. Therefore, he's learned too much and nothing at all. The next message reads, "The water is black with venom." The next one says, "His final toll will sound my greatest coming." The next message simply reads, "I know you," which is a reference to Red Dead Redemption's Stranger Mission arc involving the strange man. And then finally, "The moon will shine on in the darkness," which brings us back to this map of Armadillo with the message, "I offered you happiness or 2 generations. You made your choice." To investigate this one further, we're going to have to head to Armadillo, a town crippled by disease. Most recently, a cholera outbreak.
Morning.
Hey, friend. Place is full of cholera. Head in there at your own peril. Well, half the town has died and most of the rest have fled.
Still?
Sure. A few years ago it was the scarlet fever. Then it was the desert plague. Then typhus. Now the cholera. Bad business. Some folks say the whole town is cursed.
Whole town's got cholera!
Here, you can read for yourself.
We have a pamphlet warning us about the town's cholera outbreak, but from the man we learn that Armadillo has been struck by various diseases over the years, and it's almost as if the town is cursed. However, the moon shines on in the darkness. Not this moon, I'm not sure why I'm showing you that symbolism in it. If we head to the general store, we can have an interaction with the vendor there that is quite interesting.
On their face. Good to see you, Pard. You might as well grab some crackers and biscuits while you're here. The sick people out there haven't been eating, so I have plenty.
Who's that?
I don't know. It's just a little portrait somebody gave me once. I always quite liked it. Why?
No reason. Just seemed familiar. Anyway.
The shopkeeper seems unaffected by the plague that is ravaging his town, and on his shelf he has a portrait of none other than the strange man. What is this shopkeeper's name? Herbert Moon, which we know from Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare. We also learn that he's a rather hateful character who dislikes more or less everybody but himself.
Hey, mister.
Hey, Pard.
You seen a couple deputies?
Like I said during the video once, I'm trying to beat Undead Nightmare. Got past all these missions, but then my PS3 crashed, and now I just gotta restart the entire game because now I don't even know what to do anymore.
Nearby? Marshall's boys. Jonah and Eli?
Are they Jews, mister? They sound like Jews.
I don't know. Why?
Why? This whole thing is nothing but a Jewish plot. You do know that, don't you?
I find that highly unlikely, amigo.
Well, I don't like Jews, or colored folk, or natives, now that you mention it.
Well, you're a nice, kind-hearted man to meet in a time of trouble.
Kind does not come into it.
Why? What are you talking about?
Why? I bet you like Catholics. I can't stand them neither, nor women. Fabians, socialists, homosexuals, Asians, or British. Between them, they've ruined this country. Ruined it. It was a good country once. Now people are eating each other, and it's all the fault of the Jewish, British, Catholic, homosexual elite and their ideas. Well, I, for one, won't stand for it.
Have you ever met a Jewish person?
Thankfully not.
Or a British Catholic homosexual?
Not in my store. Oh, I get it. I see you acting clever. Well, let me tell you this. The Jews killed Lincoln.
Okay, this guy is completely wrong about the Jews killing Lincoln. It was not the Jews. Unless John Wilkes Booth was a Jew, which he wasn't probably, I don't even know. John Wilkes Booth was the one that killed Abraham Lincoln. I don't really understand why they're trying to go out the money. So
That's why there is a triangle on the money. And they run Europe like one of them Arabian harems. Now they've sent this here plague to kill all us decent folk. Yep.
You, sir, are truly a remarkable fella.
Thank you kindly.
I must say, it's a rare pleasure to meet someone with such a grasp on human history. You take care of yourself. I'd hate to see you get savaged by someone and watch the life force drain from your hate-filled body.
Hey, hold on there. Why don't you join me in my fight, sir? It's not too late.
I fear it is for me.
Then I will fight them alone. All of them. America is the land of the free. And that means free to people like me, Herbert Moon.
Absolutely.
The rest is kind of funny. He gets eaten by zombies. Nice. We basically learn from this that Herbert Moon hates everybody, and yet the strange man is protecting him from the cholera outbreak. But what does "I offered you happiness" or 2 generations you made your choice actually mean? Well, if you loot Herbert Moon's body after you kill him or hogtie him, you can find a letter that reads as follows. Papa, I know you don't like Isaac, and I cannot bear that I have sullied your bloodline as you put it, but I beg you to not cut me off as a daughter. I love and respect you, but I also love my husband, even though you consider the cause of blood and the selling of groceries to be the purest and best of callings. I feel called to a different path. Isaac and I are dedicating ourselves to helping the poor. I am sure your God will hate me for marrying a Jew, but Isaac is a good man. Whatever you may think, oh Papa, I pray for you, to the God you believe must hate me, and that he, in his infinite wisdom, can make you see that I am not the sinner you believe me to be. Either way, I love you, and I hope you will forgive me for this unpardonable sin and come to see your grandchild when it arrives. Your daughter, Herberta Solomons. Herbert Moon's daughter, Herberta. Bit egotistical, Herbert, but okay.
I'm not gonna try to be rude here, but why the heck would you name your daughter after basically your name? Oh yeah, my name's Herbert Moon. This is my daughter Herberta Moon, or whatever last name is. Hang on, let's do check. Herberta Solomons.
Your grandchild when it arrives. Your daughter, Herberta Solomons.
Okay, let me get one thing straight. Why would you name your daughter Herberta? Herberta. Wow, that's a weird name, ain't gonna lie. That's actually very, very weird. Who would name their daughter that?
Herbert Moon's daughter, Herberta. Bit egotistical, Herbert, but okay. Married a Jewish man, which Herbert hates. So therefore, he's cut his daughter off from his life. Therefore, he will never know his grandchild through his own decision. So instead of happiness, Herbert Moon is now stuck with 2 generations. As far as he's concerned, his bloodline has ended with his daughter. It would appear as if he worships a strange god that is not Christian, definitely not Jewish and certainly not Catholic, and from that belief births his hatred for everything. And from the writing in The Strange Man's Cabin, we can gather Herbert Moon and the Strange Man have crossed paths in the past. My theory is that the Strange Man is Herbert Moon's god. He offered Herbert happiness to let go of his hate, and instead, Herbert Moon decided to stick to his guns, likely through Herbert Moon's interpretation of what he believes the Strange Man would want, because as we
Okay, before I continue this video, I got a question for y'all. Put it down in the comments if you want to. What would you choose? Happiness or 2 generations? That's actually a deep question. Happiness or 2 generations? Which one would you guys choose? Think about that and put it down in the comments if you want to.
know from our own experience, the Strange Man keeps himself ambiguous. It's either all of that or Herbert Moon made a deal with the Strange Man like he's the devil. And now he's paying the price personally, and the town he's living in is paying the price with the cholera outbreak. Hence why it reads the moon will shine on in the darkness in the Strange Man's cabin. And there is also other evidence that suggests that the Strange Man is somehow involved in what's going on in Armadillo.
Used to be quite a nice little town, too. Now it's just dust storms and disease and death. They take in the burning bodies because they can't bury them fast enough. I mean, when you see it, it really feels like something biblical. And I ain't a religious man.
Yep.
Really, it's a sight to behold. I certainly ain't never read the Bible on account of me not reading and all, but for a place to turn like that, so bad and so fast, you can't help but thinking, this can't be of natural causes. Folk there are calling it a curse. And I ain't a superstitious man, but it's hard not to see it any other way. They're saying this figure appears sometimes there in the distance. Black suit and big top hat, then disappears. Shadowy, like he ain't of this mortal realm. Reaper and his Sunday best. Maybe they're being punished for sins or something, I don't know. I got enough sins on my tally to figure I'm gonna stay well away from there. And I ain't a betting man, but I put my money on this. Way things are, won't be long before Tumbleweed is the only town left in these parts, and there won't be nothing in Armadillo but ghosts.
The Strange Man is looming over Armadillo, either because he has something to do with the plague going on there, or, as this random encounter describes him, he's the Reaper in his Sunday best. He's there taking count of those that die. After all, he is an accountant. There's evidence that suggests the Strange Man is the Grim Reaper. There's other evidence that suggests that he's God. However, there is also evidence that can suggest the Strange Man is in fact the devil. For example, if you use a trainer mod in Red Dead Redemption 2 on PC, you can discover that the Strange Man's ped model is CS_Mysterious Stranger, which may be a reference to Satan from Mark Twain's novel The Mysterious Stranger. Both the Strange Man in Red Dead and Satan in The Mysterious Stranger are enigmatic supernatural beings that frequently question humanity's hypocrisy and morality. If the Strange Man was the devil, it would explain why Herbert Moon is living a life of suffering amidst a cholera-infested town. If you take a photo of the Strange Man's house in Red Dead Redemption 2, the Rockstar Social Club will automatically tag this location as serial killer. In Grand Theft Auto Online, in the Diamond Casino heist update, Nazar speaks as a fortune-telling machine that you can find, and she says this about the Strange Man.
I see a strange man in a tall hat. He frightens me.
However, if you're looking for an
If you guys didn't hear that, I'll replay it back here.
machine that you can find, and she said
Because this apparently, in my opinion, I don't know if it's true, GTA is in the same thing, like same dimension as Red Dead 2. Because I was playing GTA Online once, and then I saw John as like a father figure, so I clicked him, and I was like, I looked like John Marston, basically. But let's get back to it.
this about the Strange Man.
I see a strange man in a tall hat. He frightens me.
However, if you're
She said, She sees a strange man in a top hat. He frightens me. Now, if he frightens everyone, he is probably the devil, like this guy said.
Looking for an in-canon fortune teller talking about the strange man? Look no further than Blind Man Cassidy. He has this to say.
Two strangers seek thee. One from this world, perhaps one from another. One brings hatred. I'm not so sure what the other brings.
The stranger from this world who brings hatred is Edgar Ross. However, the other is from another world, and his motivations are not seen by the fortune teller. The strange man obscures his motivations from all. He is simply beyond all understanding, even those with the higher power of fortune telling. Another hint at the strange man being the devil goes in the saying, "Speak of the devil, and he doth appear." The Armadillo town crier can be heard saying the devil has the town in his hand. But is the strange man the devil? I don't think it's that simple. Anyway, for now, back to the house. As you keep visiting the house, the portrait at the center will eventually complete. And when it finally does, John will be able to inspect the portrait, which will be now clearly of the strange man's face. And in his journal, it will say this: "This place made me feel like I was being watched. Queerest feeling I ever felt. Hard to explain. Fascinating and awful and seductive all at once." And was John being watched? Yes, because in the mirror you can see the strange man standing in the corner. However, if you turn around, he will be gone. Returning to face the mirror will reveal him to be no longer there. However, for as long as you keep the mirror in your sight with him there, he will stay there. He isn't in the room though. He's in the mirror, but he is watching, for he sees everything. Now, the question on everybody's mind is, who is the strange man? There are many theories, and we've touched down on a few already. However, I'm going to go over a few of them that I think are quite interesting. Firstly, we have my initial theory that the strange man is the Grim Reaper. He shows up when death is near, such as with Armadillo or John.
I'm pretty sure I told you guys that he is possibly the Grim Reaper. He shows up when death is near. For example, like he just said, John Marston, and I'm going to say Arthur Morgan. I don't think he said that. Hang on, let's repeat.
Marston in the over a few of them that I think are quite interesting. Firstly, we have my initial theory that the strange man is the Grim Reaper. He shows up when death is near, such as with Armadillo or John Marston.
With Armadillo or John Marston, like he said that. But also, remember Jimmy Brooks? Yeah, him, he was probably a test that Arthur Morgan was death is also near. So he is the Grim Reaper. So I agree with that theory.
In the I Know You Stranger Mission storyline, and from a neutral standpoint guides their souls to peace. In this theory, the strange man is neither good nor evil, just an omen of death. This theory is reinforced by the strange man's simple, somber attire and the fact that he refers to himself as an accountant of sorts. He has no name and is clearly somewhat otherworldly, and whoever he's watching or interacting with, death shortly follows. The second theory is that the strange man is God. The strange man is all-seeing. He also gives John the freedom to carry out his moral tests however he sees fit, and Herbert Moon owns a portrait of the strange man which appears to protect him from the cholera epidemic, which he may or may not have had a hand in creating. Now, you may think God wouldn't do that. Oh, he absolutely would. This is arguably pedestrian compared to flooding the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. He also punishes Herbert Moon for his greed and hatred. And when John says, "Damn you," the strange man responds with, "Yes, many have, for many have forsaken God, including me." Evidently.
That picture that he just said, hang on, that was pretty funny. In my opinion, at least.
When John says, "Damn you," the strange man responds with, "Yes, many have, for many have forsaken God, including me." Evidently.
I like how he's actually by a fire truck. by a boning house? What?
The third theory is that the strange man is the devil. Herbert Moon very clearly had a bargain with the strange man, not dissimilar to one that you might strike with the devil, and is suffering for it. The strange man's ped model is also named Mysterious Stranger, and the strange man clearly took inspiration from Satan in Mark Twain's novel The Mysterious Stranger, as mentioned before, being enigmatic, supernatural, and frequently questioning humanity's hypocrisy and morality. The strange man also has a frightening, unnerving, and confusing presence to fortune tellers especially. He ensures that he is visible, but his intentions are kept far from prying eyes. In other words, his presence is far from that of a nurturing deity, and all encounters and experiences regarding the strange man would suggest something of a sinister presence, although not necessarily one that is clearly defined as good or evil. And the devil sure does love a spot of trickery. Not only that, but the strange man also appears to gravitate towards those who might be conventionally considered as sinful. Now, he doesn't tick all the boxes for any of these, and subscribing to any one theory leaves blanks to be filled. So I've come up with theory 4, which is that he is all of above. He is the devil, he is God, he is the Grim Reaper, or at least the Red Dead universe equivalent to one, on all counts. He's clearly a supernatural being that tests people's morality, questions their hypocrisy, and where appropriate condemns and punishes. He's not innately good or evil, he just is. His reflection in the mirror in the cabin may represent the fact that he could be little more than just a reflection of your morality. He is the appropriate authority to judge, and for the sinful, he is reckoning. Not necessarily married to a religious view on a deity or a demon or a Grim Reaper or a devil. The strange man could very much so be a mashup of all of these things, not dissimilarly to, say, Gauntero Dim from The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. At the very least on a foundational level, obviously there are vast differences. And finally, the theory that the strange man is Josiah Trelawney. Get out. At least on a foundational
The reason why I just rewrote that was because I'm gonna let you guys read that for a few seconds. Just hang on.
level, obviously there are vast differences. And finally, the theory that the strange man is Josiah Trelawney.
Okay, Josiah Trelawney is basically like a scammer in the Dutch Vandalin gang. But he, in my opinion, he actually does look like Josiah Trelawney. So the strange man might be Josiah Trelawney. But just read that for a few seconds. If you guys don't want to, though, I'll read it for you. How can romance be silly? How can romance ever be silly? It's all we have. I believe he says this in one of the missions, but I have no idea. I completely forgot. But let's continue this.
Get out. Just fucking leave. There is a theory on the internet that the strange man might be Cain from the Bible, doomed to wander the earth for all eternity, and misfortune will meet any who cross paths with him. But as cool as that theory is, and it is online if you want to Google it, I don't think it covers anywhere near as many bases as some of the other theories. That being said, none really fit the profile. But what do you think the strange man is? I think there's definitely some hints of God, some hints of the Grim Reaper, and maybe a little touch of the devil in there. But above all else, what we know for certain is the strange man is a supernatural being that works in mysterious ways, and will likely never be fully understood beyond a mere reflection into our morality. So in other words, if you perceive the strange man as the devil, maybe it's time to start looking in the mirror.
Wow, what a good way to end the video. This is actually one of the longest videos I ever did. 44 minutes long. New record on the channel. Oh, wow. But that's gonna be it for the video today. Like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Goodbye.